Imagine changing your 4-year-old daughter's diaper and realizing that she was really red and in pain down there. So you asked her, has anybody ever touched you? And she says, yes, daddy. And what you do is you get her and your other kids out of the house before he makes it home, and you take them to the hospital. And you have them check your other children as well, and come to find out, not only have he been essaying your 4-year-old daughter, he's also essayed your 2-year-old daughter. And you are a content creator who has built your channel around being a trophy wife and having a trophy husband. And now you have to rethink everything, because this man that you put on a pedestal have been essaying his own children. It's a very, very sad story. Her name is Isis. Her page is A Trophy Wife. The full video is on her YT channel. It is very sad. I can tell that she's beating herself up. But you will never expect for a father to be touching their own children. This is a very sad story. So my prayers go out to her and to those kids that was harmed. But you guys, don't ever look up to another couple, because you never know what's really going on behind closed doors. Imagine
that Shira 7, her teachings changed my life. And I would not be where I am today without her teachings. One being Shira 7 and the other being Kevin Samuels. As you guys know, if you've already watched my other videos, that Shira 7, her teachings changed my life. And I would not be where I am today without her teachings. Someone like her showing us that we don't have to accept less, that we don't have to settle for bare minimum when it comes to men, especially if you look good. Finally starting to realize our worth and becoming more feminine, leveling up our looks, is the manosphere red pill side of things, which was formerly led by Kevin Samuels. Now, I didn't discover Kevin Samuels until after I was married. There was so many men that, you know, loved Kevin and were rooting for him and believed in his message. And when I listened to Kevin Samuels, I learned a lot. He also talked about the importance of staying in shape and being fit, and how that can either work for you or work against you in the dating market and even in a marriage. He had me, you know, making sure that I'm keeping my body together and I'm, you know, staying just as good as I looked when my husband met me. I think that so many women hated Kevin Samuels because of the delivery rather than the message. I think there's so many of us that grew up without a father, and therefore it's very hard for us to accept certain messages from men, especially from Black men. My husband is Black, and, you know, some of the women that work for him, the women that are Black women, have a harder time letting him lead because he's Black. And that, you know, is just something that goes on in our community. So I think that had a lot to do with why so many women hated Kevin Samuels. It agrees with our DNA, our bodies, our hormones more to be able to rest in our femininity and be home with our children. I actually couldn't believe how many people were cheering over the fact that this man had passed away. To me, that was sad and unnecessary, because at the end of the day, I believe that he was teaching women how to qualify for the men that they want. I have nothing to say about negative to say about Black men. I'm married to a Black man. I'm raising Black sons, and you won't ever hear that coming from me, okay? And if you believe that you're not the kind of woman that Black men want, then go where you're valued. I mean, I really don't get it when people come on here and like are trying to like put their 2 cents in the comments, but then when I go on their page and their channel, they don't have any videos. Like, don't try to come on my platform and elevate your opinion. If you really believe in what you, then you'll start your own channel and speak on it for yourself. You can easily click off if you that Shira 7, her teachings changed my life. And I would not be where I am today without her teachings. That Shira 7, her teachings changed my life. And I would not be where I am today without her teachings. I had to end up leaving my husband. I honestly don't even really know where to start with this, just because it's just such a hard topic. And I honestly thought that by the time I got on here that I wouldn't have any tears left because I've just cried so much. It's like I built this channel and this whole brand around being this man's wife and trying to teach other women how to attract good men and provider men and all these different things. And I truly held my husband, or saw him, as the bar for what every woman should, the type of man that, or type of husband that every woman should aspire to have. And I didn't realize that the person I married was actually going to be my biggest nightmare. So basically, when I first met my husband, as I've already talked about in another video, I think it was my single mom video, I explained, a little bit about how we met. And I really thought that that man was my Prince Charming. So when I first met my husband, I thought that he was my Prince Charming. I thought that he was my knight in shining armor, and he portrayed himself to be this amazing, upright, righteous Christian man, and I believed him. I think shortly after we got married, and this is something that I haven't talked about, I started noticing like certain things changed with him, and I just started to see a few things that I didn't like, but I honestly thought that some of these were things that I could get past. It's like sad to even say like I could get past some of these things. I don't even know where to start. 6 weeks ago, I was changing my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, and I noticed that when I changed her, she was red and very sensitive, and immediately my first thought was, did someone touch her? Oh God. And I would not be where I am today without her teaching. Someone like her showing us that we don't have to accept less, that we don't have to settle for bare minimum when it comes to men, especially if you look good. Gosh. So I asked her, I said, baby, did somebody touch you? And she ended up saying it was daddy. I felt like my world ended on that day. My husband wasn't home at the time when she told me, but I knew he would be coming home soon, so all I could do was just say, don't tell him that you told me. And I just instantly started trying to think of how I could get my kids out of the house, because I knew if I confronted him or asked him about it, that he would just lie, and that he would probably just continue to keep doing stuff to her, but just become more covert or more sneaky or whatever. As soon as my husband got home, he was actually picking up the boys from school, my 2 older boys from school. As soon as he got home, I told him that I was going to go Halloween shopping with my sister because I just needed an excuse to get out of the house with all the kids. And I knew if I said something like, oh, I'm going to the grocery store, that it would be suspicious. Like, why am I bringing all the kids and like packing things, like things that we would need and things like that. So going Halloween shopping was the best thing I could think of to just hurry up and get the kids out of the house. I'm sorry, I had to get myself together. So when I got to the hospital, they basically told me that we had to go to another hospital because they didn't do physical exams, like that kind of physical exam there. So a police officer escorted the kids and I to another hospital where they were able to evaluate my daughters. It ended up coming out that he had actually been touching both of my daughters, who are only 2 and 4 years old. It still feels like a dream. Like, when this first happened, I just kept waking up every day just hoping that this was a dream. Because it's literally my worst nightmare. It's my worst nightmare. I myself am a product of RAPE. That's how I came to be. And was also, abused as a child by a neighbor's husband. And I specifically prayed to God that my children would never, ever, ever have to go through this. And I'm just not quite sure how this happened, why this happened. I just don't know how he was able to get away with it and so sneaky, because with my own trauma, I watch my kids like a hawk. Like, I don't like them sitting on people's laps. None of that. And he knows how much I cannot stand men like him. And to think like I couldn't even go to sleep in my own house and know that my children are safe. Just by me going to sleep, my children were left unprotected. So I don't know what the future of this channel is going to be. I don't know if I'm going to change the name or what. that Shira 7, her teachings changed my life. And I would not be where I am today without her teachings. Someone like her showing us that we don't have to accept less, that we don't have to settle for bare minimum when it comes to men, especially if you look good.